My cheating wife panicked and begged for forgiveness, but she will face the consequences she deserves. I discovered my soon-to-be ex-wife cheating about 7 months ago. I went through all the heartbreak, denial, pain, and the attempts she made to pick me back up. I was seriously depressed for a long time. I never confronted her, but I was a complete mess. She must have known I found out, but she just didn't care. Or at least that's what I assumed. About 2 to 3 months ago, I was just done with it, all done with her, done with the marriage. I simply didn't care anymore. I completely checked out of the relationship and started preparing for divorce and the new life ahead. I avoided my wife as much as possible. I tried to stay out of the house when she was home. When she asked me a question, I would only answer yes, no, maybe, or I don't know. I even left the divorce lawyer's bills out in the open. She must have known I was checked out and getting ready to divorce. Even the kids asked me about it, they could see what was going on. I even gave the "we both love you" speech, telling them it's not their fault. Sometimes grown-ups just can't be together anymore. And so on. My wife was actually in the room and must have heard me talk to the kids. She didn't say anything or object. I took her silence as consent. Anyway, a few days ago, I met a girl I used to know in school before I ever met my wife. We always had this tension between us, some kind of chemistry. We would always flirt and be touchy, but we never actually did anything about it. Let's call her Monica, because I think she looks like Monica Bellucci. Monica and her family moved away before I found the courage to actually do anything about it. I regretted that for a long time, but I was young, shy, and foolish. I hadn't thought about Monica for a long time. Actually, I hadn't seen her for years. But as soon as we met, the tension between us was clear, even stronger than I remembered. Talking to her was effortless. She actually asked me out. I explained the situation with my soon-to-be ex-wife and told her I wanted to be officially separated. Before I started dating, I wasn't going to cheat. Monica respected that. She gave me her number and told me to call her as soon as I was done with everything I had to take care of. She told me she'd never married and was really excited to get to know me again. I was even more excited. That meeting motivated me to finally confront my wife and officially start the separation and divorce process. I was really happy when I went home and sat down, waiting for my wife. I was actually grinning like a maniac. When I asked her to sit down and told her we needed to talk, I told her I had known about her cheating for a long time. I told her I assumed she knew I knew, especially since I had checked out of our relationship for the last 3 months or so. She didn't seem to care that I no longer cared. I told her I wanted to start dating and move on with my life. I ended my speech with, "All taken into consideration, it's time for us to get divorced. Don't you agree?" Her reaction was completely not what I expected. She started crying, not just regular crying, but desperate, soul-breaking sobs I've never heard before. She was babbling excuses and begging for second chances, saying the affair didn't mean anything, and that we could fix things if we tried counseling. I was a bit shocked. I thought she would be happy. I told her she could go and be with this guy without guilt. He's obviously more important to her than her family. If he wasn't, why would she be with him in the first place? She must have known this would destroy us. She can't be that stupid, can she? I told her that if she believed we needed to fix our family or our marriage, the time to do that was 7 months ago, before she had the affair. Now, it's too late. It's broken beyond repair. I didn't think we had any problems in our marriage. She didn't talk to me, and I'm not a mind reader, so whatever it was, I had no way of fixing it. Since she started this affair with the other guy, she obviously thought something was wrong or missing, something so wrong that it couldn't be solved by talking to me. Something had to be so lacking or so wrong that she was okay with having our children grow up in a broken family. If it weren't that way, why would she do it? I clearly and calmly explained that there is no way for her to hide this guy for the last 7 months, and no way to undo the pain and suffering she caused me. The pain she caused has left me struggling to feel anything at all, sometimes numb. Other times, overwhelmed by anger I can hardly contain. I'm only being civil so we can co-parent our children in the future. I told her I didn't believe she ever cared about me. No one who truly cares about someone else would put them through this kind of pain. They wouldn't betray them the way she did. Her saying she loves me means nothing because her actions clearly prove otherwise. She became completely incoherent at that point. I couldn't make heads or tails of anything she said. It was just a jumbled mess. In the end, I had to call her sister because honestly, I wasn't going to take care of her. Her sister came over, and after I explained the situation, she took her away. I felt an enormous relief when they left. For the first time in 7 months, I could finally breathe. I don't know what I'm looking for here. She must have known this was going to happen. She must have wanted it. She can't possibly be so clueless to think that her behavior and choices would lead to anything other than divorce and a broken family. She's beautiful, she's smart, and our marriage was great until she started the affair. I've accepted that life changes and moved on. Now she's pretending like she loves me. Like she wants us to stay married and be a family. What could possibly be her motivation for this big drama now? What could she gain? I mean, she can't really expect us to reconcile at this point. Can she? It has to be some kind of ploy, just can't figure out what it is. I have a lot of proof of her cheating. I live in a European country where this means no alimony or anything for her. Could that be it? Is she afraid I'll expose her? Could that be it? Maybe she wants me to feel sorry for her so I don't tell anyone what she did. Her affair partner is married, so maybe she's scared I'll tell his wife. I just can't wrap my head around it. Anyway, I needed to get this out of my head. Hoped writing it down would help me make sense of it. But no, I'm just as confused now as when I started this rant. Update. My cheating soon-2-B-X-wife continues to confuse the hell out of me. First of all, thank you to everyone. This has been overwhelming in many ways. I haven't had a chance to respond to everyone, but I've tried to read everything. 3 days after the conversation with my wife, I had hardly slept. I actually passed out reading messages on my computer. When I woke up the next day, I had an interesting keyboard pattern on my face, but a much clearer mind. I decided to make some lists of pros and cons on the key points. I put a bunch of papers on the wall, with headlines like kids, how to behave when meeting the wife, my marriage, Monica, questions to ask my wife, and so on. The final document is too big to type here, so I'll just cover some of the main points. My goal was to figure out what core principles I want to stand for, and what are the most important things I want to focus on. Then, I went through each and evaluated whether I could realistically achieve anything meaningful and what a meaningful result would look like if I got anywhere. As for the kids, they're my top priority. I'll increase my efforts to help them cope with this through more individual counseling, family counseling, arranging trips, spending more quality time together, and making new memories. I'll also involve the rest of my family to surround them with love and support through this. I'll talk to their teachers, coaches, and others to ensure their support system is immediate and everywhere. I got an STI test and have booked DNA testing for the kids. Just thinking they might not be mine makes me very uncomfortable. But I have to be sure for their sake. If they're not mine, maybe there's medical history they need to know about. What if they want to reach out to their biological father when they're older? How will they see me if I don't act now? I'll be stressed until I get it confirmed one way or the other. After talking alone with their therapists, they joined us, and we carefully explained everything, letting them ask as many questions as they wanted. I kept repeating over and over that they could come to me for anything. I'm their dad. I love them more than anything, and I'll always be there for them, no matter what they need. As for my marriage, I came to the conclusion that I can never trust my wife again without trust. It's impossible to have a relationship. I also realized that I don't love my wife anymore. I don't love the person she has become. My love for her used to be a huge part of me, but she destroyed that with the affair. It completely changed how I see her. Maybe I could learn to love her again, but to do that, I'd have to want it, and honestly, I don't. It's better to end it and move on with our lives. I don't want this marriage anymore. I don't want our relationship. I don't want her. The part of me that once loved her, The part that used to feel endless joy and happiness when thinking of her, now fills me with dread and painful memories. Just the thought of being connected to her causes serious discomfort. Right now, divorce feels inevitable, and I want to get it over with as soon as possible. As for Monica, I've talked to her a lot. I had some concerns based on the feedback I got here on Reddit. Maybe jumping into a new relationship so quickly isn't a good idea. I also didn't want to drag her into my mess, and let's be honest, my life is a total mess at the moment. She disagreed. She said life is messy, so we might as well see how we handle it together while dating. I found out why she never married. She was engaged, but her fiancé died unexpectedly in a work accident almost 5 years ago. That devastated her. Even though she went on a few dates since then, she hadn't been able to connect with anyone. From her point of view, life is short, and you have to take risks when a real opportunity shows up. I explained that I don't want to start anything until the divorce is official. I don't want to cheat while I'm technically married. She agreed and respected that. I also mentioned how it might look if suddenly we were seen together openly. It would be easy to paint her as the homewrecker. I don't want that. She agreed. So we'll wait a little after the divorce is final before doing anything. I feel incredibly drawn to Monica. This phone call feels like a borderline emotional affair to me, so I won't contact her again until I'm done with a legal separation. We agreed that I would get my affairs in order and reach out when I'm ready to see what happens next. When it came to planning the meeting with my wife, I wrote down some principles for who I want to be. I wanted to be that the man I used to be before all this started. I decided I needed to stay calm and make every effort not to be cruel. I would remind myself that the purpose of this conversation was to move on with our lives and to be able to co-parent our kids as well as possible. Still, I prepared a list of questions to try to understand her thinking about having the affair and what she was planning moving forward. I wasn't going to lie or give her false hope that there was a chance to reconcile just to get a postnup or some advantage in the divorce. I've decided to act as fairly as possible. I will split all assets equally, and we will share 50-50 custody. Even though she treated me terribly, I won't use her as a bad example. I want to behave in a way I can stand by today, tomorrow, and even 20 years from now. I hate her for what she did to me, to us, and to our children. But I also love the memories of the good times we had while it lasted, and I loved the children we created and raised together. Moving forward, I will try to remember her in that light, not her cheating. I can't carry hate in my heart forever, so at some point, I'll need to forgive her to move on. Up until she cheated, I think we had a very good marriage. We made love every day, spent lots of quality time together, and hardly ever argued. We willingly sacrificed for each other. I was very open with her until I found out about the affair. I believe she was open with me too, but her actions now prove otherwise. So Saturday came, and I went to see her. Her sister had warned me that she wasn't in good shape, and she wasn't wrong. My soon-to-be ex-wife looked absolutely terrible. Bloodshot eyes, swollen face, messy hair. She looked many sizes smaller than I remembered, like she'd shrunk into herself. I doubt she had slept or eaten this week. We all sat down together, and my wife was shaking almost uncontrollably. Surprisingly, I felt calm. I felt for her obvious pain, but not as a loving spouse. I felt for her pain, like I would for an actor in a movie I was watching. I'm not sure how to explain the feeling exactly, but it confirmed that I probably don't love her anymore. I just sat there, waiting for her to gather herself enough to speak. She tried several times but would break down into tears. Watching her, it was clear this wasn't an act. I've seen her cry many times before, but never like this. I guess people can fake crying, but I doubt anyone can fake crying non-stop for a week. Mixed with soul-wrenching sobs and huge snot bubbles. When she finally started talking, it was like a dam burst. She apologized with almost every other word. Surprisingly, she didn't try to excuse herself or shift blame to me. Her sister was crying too, and would occasionally scold her. It also became clear that her sister had warned her this would happen. Apparently, this was how her sister lost her fiancé a year ago. I didn't know that my wife's sister's cheating had given her a midlife crisis of sorts. She began thinking about cheating a lot. In the end, it seems my wife did this because she became infatuated a crush on the guy and couldn't help herself. She never believed I would find out or that anyone would get hurt. It was a completely selfish thing. Apparently, she was very happy in our marriage. She convinced herself that she deserved this fling and that I would probably support her choice if I knew how happy she was at the time. She believed this affair would pass and that we'd all go back to living happy family lives forever. She had no idea I had found out. And only when I started to check out did she begin to question what was happening. I learned she broke up with the affair partner about 1.5 months ago. Excitement had started to fade. She gave me her phone to check, and she had blocked him. When I unblocked him, messages from 1.5 months ago poured in. She had been trying to re-engage me in our marriage, but I hadn't shown any interest in having anything to do with her until I finally sat her down. She was convinced we could find a way back together and come out stronger than ever. But when she looked into my eyes during our confrontation, she understood this was probably the end. The reality hit her like a ton of bricks. I tried asking her questions, mostly about what was going through her mind that gave her the right to do this to us, to our children. Basically, it boiled down to selfishness on her part. Like many of you pointed out, I realize I'll never get the answers I'm looking for because they don't exist. There is no acceptable reason for cheating, so I'll never get an acceptable answer. I did, however, get closure in a strange way. I got to tell her how badly she hurt me, the incredible pain she caused. I got her to accept that it's her fault our marriage is broken and that our children will grow up in a broken home. This gave me a strange feeling of peace. She had been reading everything she could about fixing a marriage after infidelity. She had a complete timeline and a detailed confession, signed and ready for me. I haven't read it yet. I just gave it to my lawyer. She begged and begged for a second chance, promising she'd do anything. I told her I didn't believe her. In fact, I didn't believe anything she said. I just don't trust her. She asked me what she could do to fix it. I told her she broke it, and if she doesn't know how to fix it, how can she expect me to come up with a solution? I asked her, if she were in my shoes, what she would answer. Questions like this went back and forth for a while. In the end, she admitted that if the roles were reversed, she probably wouldn't forgive either. I told her I had gotten an STI test and would be getting DNA tests for the kids. When she heard this, she completely broke down for about 20 minutes. She insisted this was the only time she ever cheated or did anything wrong. After some back and forth, she admitted I had no reason to believe her, and that if she were in my position, she'd probably do the same. I asked if the affair partner's wife knew. She said she didn't know, but agreed that she deserved to know. I asked if she should tell her, or if I should. She asked me if I would consider reconciling or marriage counseling if she told the truth. I said no, but I told her it would help her. She promised to tell the affair partner's wife and everyone else. She said she would go to HR and confess everything. Again, I told her I didn't really believe her. She swore she would never be with anyone else and that she would never give up on getting back with me, even if it took the rest of her life. I didn't believe her, but I said nothing. It was becoming repetitive. She offered me a one-sided open marriage, access to all her communications 24/7 and full availability. I told her I had talked to Monica and that I was waiting because I don't want to cheat. I don't want an open relationship, would hurt her if we did that, and I don't want to hurt others the way she hurt me. I don't want to be her jailer, either. Constantly spying on her and being suspicious is no foundation for a healthy relationship. I'm not interested in intimacy without a deeper connection either. Sex for the sake of mechanical release holds no value for me. If I need that kind of release, I can handle it on my own. Don't need a partner for that. By this point, we were all exhausted. We had been talking for over 5 hours, and my wife had been crying almost the entire time on a scale from bad to absolutely horrifying. We weren't going to get anywhere further. It was over. I told her very clearly that the love I used to have for her had died. I didn't recognize the person she had become anymore. Our family had been destroyed by her actions, and I would go through with the divorce. I told her she couldn't undo what she had done. The only way to avoid this results would have been not to start the affair 7 months ago. I didn't want our marriage back. I didn't want her back. I didn't want more pain. I suggested we go no contact for a while to get some distance and perspective. I told her I had already filed and that my mind was made up. We could start family therapy to co-parent, but beyond that, I didn't even want to see her. It was incredibly painful to say all this. She was crying hard, mumbling no, 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 please, no, please, no. When I got up to leave, she had a massive, almost explosive nosebleed. She reached for me, but then passed out. I managed to catch her before she hit the floor. I drove her and her sister to the ER, and stayed until I knew she would be okay. Last night, and today, my soon-to-be ex-wife has been telling everyone what she's done. The affair partner's wife called me this morning to confirm that what my wife told her was true. I sent her copies of some of the evidence. I just learned she kicked her husband out. She wants to meet and see more evidence. She had suspected something for a long time, but didn't have anything solid. I suggested we sit down for dinner tomorrow. She needed to talk, and asked if we could speak on the phone, but I told her, maybe later. I don't know if I can handle that right now. I freely admit I'm feeling like a piece of waste. I haven't been able to sleep. Cracks are forming in my resolve. I know I must stay strong, but it's very hard. Why do I feel so guilty? Why do I feel responsible to try to fix this? We might fool ourselves for a while, but it probably won't work long term. Some of her friends and relatives have been calling me and cursing me out. They think I should give her a second chance. But in my mind, I think, why drag out the pain? It's better to get it over with, so we can start to heal and build new lives. So that's it. Nothing spectacular, no revenge, no closure, no peace, no happy ending. Just more pain for all of us. My mind is in a very dark place right now. To be honest, I don't know what to do.